Okay, nice. So, hope so everyone can hear my voice and it's audible. Oh, someone is asking if you're more on theory or practical. Uh, we are going to base on practical a bit later, but we'll try do every stuff. For today, we are looking at the part. We can't dive into writing exploit and maybe breaking some machine, because I believe we are different. We also be holding this session differently. Like we are starting every Thursday, we are going to have a cybersecurity sessions. Sometime we will try arrange for physical session. Yeah. For today, we will do little practical, but next session we are going to get started directly into exploiting some real stuff, but ethical. Uh, Ethical is the best way to go. So, uh, where are we beginning? We are beginning like first. What is needed? Like, if someone needs to, let's say, wants to. Okay, if we just Google, for example, what is cybersecurity? Is the practice of protecting critical system and sensitive information. Let me just admit someone. For you to start getting started in cybersecurity, there are a few steps that you really need. Some people will ask, like, do I really need to be good in programming for me to venture into security? The answer is always yes or no. It depends with which stack do you really want to go. Uh, for here, I have a very small like roadmap for where you can get started in security, like what's really needed. Uh, Obviously, when you're getting started in security, you need to know computer fundamentals. You need to know about the screen and other stuff. You can take a course about the CompTIA. You can do an exam on CompTIA. You can get some online exams. You can learn for free. There are always documents for free. You can go to YouTube. You learn about CompTIA for the computer fundamentals. It's one of the best. I want to venture more into computer fundamentals since was not part like what we need to discuss, but I can have a look about the operating systems. Like when you're starting in security, like people always ask like which operating system do I need? Someone will tell you Windows, someone will tell you put a virtual machine and add there Kali Linux distro, someone will tell you Parrot, someone will tell you Arch Linux. There's always some funny norms behind. But what operating system do you need? I think you just need all operating system. Like you need to be good. Like the debate between either using Kali or Linux, because even when it comes to Linux, again, it's another debate. People will tell you Kali Linux is the best. Masters will tell you like Arch Linux is the best. Personally, I will tell you Parrot is the best because I use Parrot OS. So the best OS for hackers, yeah, sometimes it's Linux, sometimes it's Windows. It depends with what you're doing. Though Windows security are really for Windows security, I really don't know. But yeah, we have Windows. For you as a hacker or you as a person getting into security, you need to understand about the Windows operating system, how it really works, what is Windows, yeah, and other stuff, how the Windows server that has been there from 202 up to now, or yeah, when it started. Then you come to Linux and uses, because in Linux you have different distros. Yeah, so you have to know like what is Linux, what are the different types of distro. You need to know the Linux kernel and its function. Yeah, and the basic difference in Linux distribution. Like if you are meant for Ubuntu, we have Debian, Fedora and other Linux distribution. Yeah. For talking about the best OS for hackers, we're saying like never get into the debate like which OS is best for hackers. Because who is a hacker? A hacker is who does his task in any OS. Then you are a hacker. If you are given Windows, you can do whatever you need. If you are to compromise a network, then you'll be able to do it. That is for operating system. We'll get for into details about operating system and other stuff uh, in some few times to come. Shall dive a little deeper about it. Huh. Then, what was the basic knowledge towards security? Now, this where you need to know when you are beginning your security journey. You need to have the basic knowledge, like what do you need, what do you really need to know. And the first thing I will tell you, though many people will tell you like you don't need to know programming, people will tell you like you can simply know understand the syntax and other stuff, but understanding programming is the best thing ever. Like you need to start with the computer programming. You cannot say me you're going to write an exploit to break a software application. Let's say you want to break a web application and you want to write a Python code because sometimes SQL injections don't work and other stuff. So you need to dive deeper. You need to write now your own exploit. So knowing computer programming. Though people will tell you like, what programming language do I really need to learn? Uh, Python is always the best because Python is good for writing scripts. Because Python helps a lot in automating day-to-day tasks and makes things easier. It will help you for writing scripts and doing many stuff. Yeah, JavaScript again is one of the good language because it's hard to find a website today that doesn't use JavaScript these days. So if you want to venture into web application or web exploitation or bug bounty and other stuff, uh, probably you need to have understanding about JavaScript because yeah, truth be told, many applications are built using JavaScript. Few like just all. The thing is, you have to understand web application. Any other language like C++, Java, yeah. For those who wants to delve, for example, into Android exploitation and other stuff, you are good to know Java. Those who want to dwell into reverse engineering and exploit development, when you venture into something like C and C, a bit of C++, Rust, you are good to go. Life becomes a bit easier for you. So the basics is like you have to know at least if you don't understand programming, if you are poor at writing codes, what you really need to know, like you can be good at writing codes. For example, let me use from what I had here. Let's check for example. Uh, this is Django. So if you know you can't write all this code now, but then you are able to read, like you are able to understand like what's happening. Like for me, I know its validation is taking place here. Like here, if number it's not even, what's going to happen? Like if you have a look at the code, then you are able to interpret what is happening. That can be the best because sometimes you can inject some whatever equation or some rejects and you might be able to find the bug or whatever you are doing. So having some content in programming is the best. You can start with one or two languages, and at least how can you do this? Start with any one or two languages and give it 20 hours to learn. For example, if you take Python it's an easy language. You can even learn it in a day depending on how you learn it. If you give it something like 1 month, you'll be somewhere far. You can be writing scripts and doing some automation with it. Yeah. So, but I suggest basic language is always good to know. You have to know the basic language. You may need to read and understand thorough some VB scripts. Yeah, I know some institution people learn VB, so you can learn some VB script code or C++ code to understand the logic and the complete task. Is always the best thing you can do. Yeah. Apart from knowing computer programming, like what else do you need to know? You need to understand some cybersecurity or other hacking terms. Yeah, there are some terms like people use. Yeah, sometimes in cybersecurity and hacking, coming, repeating every time, it's common. So, like, yeah, there are just some common insecurity. People will talk of vulnerability, people will talk of exploit, people will talk of threat, malware, virus, botnets, clouds, firewalls, yeah, social engineering, persistence. There are many words because at the end of the day, cybersecurity it's something like a course on its own because you may end up specializing in different stacks. You might end up in Android, being a security analyst. You might end up like in bug bounty. You might end up maybe in something like memory exploitation and other stuff. Maybe a SOC analyst. You might end up doing a lot and a lot. A lot of theory sets. So now let's dive a little deeper about. Let's get back to operating system and we get to know like you as a security guy or as a person who is venturing into security. Like what do you really need to know when it comes to Windows? For Windows, you need to know about Windows installation. If someone gives you, you need to know how to install, how to boot machine. Yeah, you should know how to repair if you damage while learning. You can try all these stuffs on VM. What else do you need to know? The security features in Windows. The most important thing, you need to understand some security features in Windows and learn or like what has Windows put in place to protect or defend against hackers. Yeah, if you're already comfortable, yeah, you can take some several courses to see like what next. What about Linux? For Linux, just like Windows, basic Linux administrative knowledge is required. Linux is everywhere, and the future is Linux. Even Microsoft themselves currently they are trying to build their own stuff in Linux. So everyone should learn Linux because the future is Linux. With time, Windows will I don't know, even the kids will be using Linux. Even most operating system, even the Android itself is made using Linux. So yeah, everyone should know about Linux OS. So we can start by how to install Linux in a VMware and learn the basic task. Yeah, the good thing is information is always everywhere in Google, in YouTube, in Telegram. You can get some cracked stuff. It really depends from there, and you have to know a lot. You need to know like the different distros of Linux. Just a minute. Oh, sorry, someone was commenting. So 64 okay, that was it. So, a minute. Okay, so for what I had prepared for today, I had done some little stuff. Like I was not to focus more on the beginner, but I was to go just and give the pathway for what's needed. I mean, if I admit someone. Where's my screen? Okay, you have to go. This is what you have to look on. Let me just get started to network. Nice. Like you are to look like networking. Like, what do you really need to know about networking? Because trust me, you cannot hack when you don't understand networks. You can't compromise a system when you don't understand network. Uh, so that is it's a bit different. Just a minute. Is it? Uh, need someone. So for you to start compromising network and hacking, because yeah, You need to have some networking fundamentals. And yeah, first, like what is networking? Like networking is just the practice of connecting two or more devices together to share information and resources. Yeah, these include like when you connect computers, servers, printers, and devices to a local network. Yeah, or connecting them over a wide area network, such as internet. So that is what we call when we talk of like, for example, now I've been connected to internet. For example, here if you check, I've been connected to an internet called something like H4. So that is about networking. Like now, what are the few concepts and technologies that you need to start with? The first thing when it comes to networking, like you have to understand the network architecture. When we talk of the network architecture, first you need to know that network first is a collection of devices. When we talk of computers, routers, and switches, we are just talking of network, and they are connected together to share resource. The same way I can decide to chat with you via Google. Is it the chat in the Google chat? Is the same thing. It's just over network. So you have to understand how that stuff is working, and understanding the architecture include something like you need to understand like the topology. You need to know about the bus topology, the star topology, the ring topology. Yeah, you need to understand how the topology are working. You need to know what is topology. You also need to get deeper into, you need to understand also the protocols. Topologies and the protocol is essential to identify potential attack and vectors and vulnerabilities. Like you need to dive deeper. You know about the IP protocol, you get to know about the TCP, ICMP, you understand all these protocols, which at end last might be good for health because before you compromise any network, you have to have a good understanding. Before you hack into mobile device, before you go into bank and you want to compromise, you hack a bank, you have to understand networking. Then the next thing you have to understand is network protocols. So yeah, network protocols are rules and procedure that govern how data is transmitted over a network. Familiarity with a common network protocol such as TCP or IP, DNS, HTTP is essential in understanding how data is transmitted. Yeah, having knowledge on how data is transmitted, about the IP, how you are connected. Yeah, because for example, maybe you want to hack into Wi-Fi, you need to know. You want to change, you want to forcefully like use Wi-Fi without paying, or use your neighbor's Wi-Fi but in good condition. You really have to have understanding on how it works. With time, we are going to get deeper into the into network securities and trying to analyze some network security using Wireshark and trying to do some stuff with packet tracer. That is when we'll be doing more practical sessions. I think that will be more better. Huh. So another thing you need to understand is network security device, such as firewalls, in IDS, intrusion detection system, about the network monitoring tools, yeah, that are used to protect network from cyber threats. Understanding how this device work, their limitation and their potential vulnerability. For a hacker, if you understand how it works, you are able to compromise it. Then you have to know some clues about the network attacks and the network securities. So that is really important. Just a minute. Just a minute. Sorry. So we are talking of network security. So why network security? Why should someone in cybersecurity having some content about network security? Because at the end of the day, all of us need to get that bag. We are chasing that bag. So most organization, okay, network security first consists of policies and practices adopted to prevent and monitor unauthorized access, misuse, modification, denial of computer and network and the network resource. The authorization of data access in a network is taken care by the network security, which is controlled by the network administrator or the network security engineer. Network security covers transaction and communication among business, government agencies, and individuals too. Network can be private, such as within the company, or it might be public access. Uh, huh. So, so why network security? Most organizations doing most organizations today greatly rely on computer network to share information in efficient and productive manner within the network. Organized organizational computer networks these days are very large, assuming that each staff member has dedicated workstation. Uh, the thing is, where can you learn this stuff of network security? You can go like, for example, you can those who have been in security before. You can go to Hacker the Box. You have HTB Academy. In HTB Academy, you can get some good source. Like, let me just log in, for example. Oh shit. For example, if we try to log in, let me just go to Humble, then Hacker the Box. Hacker the Box Academy. HTB. Let me try logging. Hacker the Box is a place where you can learn most stuff for free. You can learn about what about talking to and block detected warrant skip. So if you go here to Hacker the Box Academy, you can learn about introduction to networking. They also have networking and interesting. They don't have network securities, but you can get through some of their boxes and some machine. Yeah, Hacker the Box is a nice place. Oh, okay. I will try share the notes. Yeah. So that is it for networking. Like you have to understand those stuff. Now, what are some of the benefits of network security? When network security is really good, what normally happen? Yeah, network security is a vital protecting client and data information. Keep, keeping shared. Is it? So, what was I saying? Like network security, it's vital in protecting client and data information, keeping shared data secure and ensuring reliable access and network performance, as well as protection from cyber threats. Yeah. So, the network security is good. Most stuff are good. All your data and privacy will remain to be good. The next thing that we need to focus on is what are some of security protection, network security protection. One, we have a firewall. Most of you have come the word firewall. Firewall will keep out unfriendly traffic, and it's necessary part of daily computing. We have the network segmentation, which will define the boundaries between the network segment and where assets within the group have common function. We have the access control, we have the zero trust, yeah, we have the VPN and many other stuff. Huh. For networking it's a bit wide. because networking is a very strong background when it comes to cybersecurity. Also, you understanding networking will help a lot because you'll get to know about the email securities, about the data loss prevention, which is a cybersecurity methodology that combines technology and best practices, about the IPS, the sandboxing. Sandboxing for the programmers, is where you practice to run your code on open files in a safe, isolated environment. Yeah, you can run there even a framework. Where is it? Let me, for example, sandbox, sandbox. Typing. Sandbox code, sandbox security. Sandbox, you can sign in Sandbox is also a nice place. Yeah, you can code and test your stuff here for it's free. I think it's an open source if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I need to learn about the cloud security. Application and workloads are no longer exclusively hosted on premise in a local data center. So protecting the modern data center requires a greater flexibility and innovation to keep the migration of application to the workloads to the clouds. Uh, I cannot talk about everything when it comes to networking unless you are doing a physical hack. But then this stuff, their theory, you can do it on your own. You can learn some of the robust network security that can help you protect some stuff against hack, like the virus. You know about the worm, the Trojan, the spyware, hardware, ransomware. Knowing this stuff is good for those who want to venture into malware. Like currently, you people, you know what Kenya airports is currently like JKIA, the Jomo Kenyatta Airport. I think it has been attracted by a ransom and they have to pay some good money. So learning this stuff sometimes it's really good. Getting to understand about the spyware. Spyware is a computer virus that gathers information about a person or organization with the excess knowledge and may send information gathered to the third party without consumer consent. We have a Trojan. A Trojan is a backdoor program that creates an entry of a malicious user to access the computer system by using what looks like a real program. Phew. So that is it. Networking is a crucial topic. We will create a time and try do some real stuff in networking. Yeah, we shall do about shall do some okay as ETF related with networking. Uh, I will plan a session. I think most theories sometimes don't help out. Then the next thing that you need to understand when in cybersecurity, okay, before I continue, maybe someone can be having a question. Anyone that have a question, anything about networking when it comes to cybersecurity, any recommendation, anything to say? Hello, can someone respond out anything? Okay, nice. So let me talk a little bit about virtual machine. So, a VM is a computer resource that uses of software instead of a physical computer to run program and deploy apps. One more virtual guest machine run on a physical and a host machine. Like we will have a host machine and we'll have a guest machine. For example, for example, on personally, I have a virtual machine that I installed it to Windows to run on it because I was doing some tasks. And my main machine, I use Parrot OS as my main machine. Uh-huh. So, like having good understanding about VirtualBox and how helpful is it. And how is it good for security? For example, virtual like the virtual machines are good for testing and development because virtual machines are commonly used in software testing and development, allowing developer to test their software on variety of different operating system and configuration without need of multiple physical machines. This helps to ensure that software is secure and reliable across the network. For people who do malware analysis, sometimes doing some of these tests in isolated environment, it's good because you're not risking your host machine. Because some malwares might end up encrypting all data and all maybe your confidential file in your machine. So yeah, for having a VM will be good for them. Those who the blue teamers or people who does incident response, virtual machine can be used in incident response to isolate infected machine and prevent the spread of malware across the network. About the sandbox environment, we have already talked of that in networking sector. So while virtual machines may have many benefits for cyber security, they are not without their risk. Malware can be designed to detect if it's running in virtual machine. Minute. Oh, so yeah, so that is it for virtual machine. About configuration of virtual machines, I believe everyone know unless if to do to explain maybe how virtual machine again work. Let me for example maybe uh, virtual box. I use virtual box. Just a minute. Oh, not really. Huh. Yeah, for example, okay, let me admit this one. For example, if you want to add a new machine, obviously, you can come here, for example, you say something like, yeah, you say something just like new, depending. Let's say, for example, you want to add a Windows machine, or maybe, let's say you want to add a Windows machine. You can say name to be Windows. Here you can provide your path. You can provide your path probably. Let me, for example, desktop. Oh, yeah. Maybe you can choose their desktop. Then from here you can go about providing your image. I don't know where is it located. Yeah, you can provide your ISO image. For, that is if you're having the ISO image. I don't know. I should be having the ISO image. Unfortunately, it's like I'm not seeing it. Mhm. For example, okay, let me get to home. Export. Uh, then the desktop. Yes. For example, maybe for example, okay, I choose Windows. I can take maybe an ISO image, maybe for Windows 11 or Windows 10. Let me take, for example, that one for Windows 11. You open it. I just do some little configuration. You can decide to go to expert mode or you just go. Then you click next. You can edit your passwords here and now change here is a Windows operating system. The same thing you can do. You can decide maybe you want to install maybe a parrot. For example, here I'm having an ISO image for parrot. So the same thing, you can put there an ISO image for parrot and continue with the configurations. That is how to set up for VirtualBox. It's the same thing. Yeah. You can check about the NAT network, the Bridget, and yeah, other stuff. You can just have a Google about it. That is for virtual machines, VM. Another thing about operating systems, we had already talked. People like there will always be arguments which OS is good for hackers, but yeah, it will all depend. It will all depend if it's Windows, if it's Mac, and other stuff. So What is an operating system? It's just a software that manages computer hardware and software resources that provide common services for computer programs. So operating system may have significant impact. So impact of operating system to cybersecurity. When we talk of vulnerability, operating system can have vulnerability that can be exploited by attackers to gain unauthorized access. Operating system that vendors release, patches, and updates. Yeah, you people have heard about the eternal blue and the other stuff of vulnerabilities maybe in Windows operating system. And whenever we have maybe a new update or upgrade, yeah, there's always one vulnerability that is always spotted. So, oh, so if I want my machine, okay, just a minute. If I want my machine to work faster when using SSD, VM, should I upgrade my RAM or SSD? Yeah. Um, hmm. I want my virtual machine. Maybe again, it also depends, but having good SSD is good for health. That is on my side. Yeah. Another thing you need to know about operating system is about the access control, because operating system provide access control that determine what action user can perform on a system. Properly configured access control can help to prevent unauthorized access and limits the damage can be caused by attacker. Yeah, people can gain access, people can SSH into your machine, people can do any other stuff, can do their DP other stuff, can brute force your logins and other stuff. Yeah, about the logging and the monitoring. Operating system provide logging and monitoring capabilities that can be used to detect and respond to security incidents. Logging can be used to track user activity, detect changes to system files, and identify suspicious network activity. Yeah, that is it. No, yeah, as an ethical hacker, you need to understand operating system and virtual machine effectively to identify and mitigate security because you are an ethical guy. That is, unless if you want to be a bad guy, but prison will be waiting for you. Yeah, but it's not too long. I think if you are caught hacking, it should take a maximum of 2 years in prison. You can try it to be a real man. Uh-huh. Yeah, so yeah, you need to understand the operating system, you need to be familiar with them, you need to know about for virtual machine, what you need to understand about virtualization, you understand about hypervisors and how they are configured to enhance some security features. You need to be good when it comes to command line basics. Either be it PowerShell, be it CMD for Windows, beat, bash, anywhere. I just need to be good at it. Yeah. You also need to be good at some security tools, like tools when it comes maybe for vulnerability scanner, network analyzer, penetration testing frameworks to help you identify and remediate vulnerabilities in an operating system. Uh, that is more important. So, in general, what you are saying is uh, a strong understanding of operating system and virtual machine is critical for ethical hacker to effectively identify and mitigate security. By having deep understanding of this area, ethical hacker more can more effectively evaluate and improve security posture of an organization. Yeah, so that is it for about what about virtual machines and operating system. We have looked at networking. So what next do we need to look about it? I think of looking at hacking in IoT, but it's really scared because it's theoretical. I don't know. Some other time we can do it physical. That is when we have all the material. If someone can be able to import a tool like Flipper Zero, someone can maybe you have the Arduino boards. Uh, there are many things to be considered, especially when it comes about hacking IOTs. Just a minute. Uh, Someone is saying the link it's not working. Just a minute. Let me just check the Google Meet link. Should be that. Yeah. Mhm. So when it comes to IoT hacking, like Internet of Things, these are very nice and very interesting part in cybersecurity. I really love this side. Uh, when people when people are doing what? People are hacking some cars. It's a nice time for those people who have watched the trailer about the Tomorrow War. It's a good stuff. Everything is just networks. So hacking IoT it simply refers to practice of exploiting vulnerabilities in Internet of Things device and networks to gain unauthorized access or control over them. You can gain access on a phone, you can gain access on a car, on someone's computer, yeah, anywhere. You identify or you exploit vulnerabilities. So when you talk about IoT hacking, you also need to understand what IoT refer. IoTs just refer to network network of devices that are connected to the internet and can communicate with each other as a smart home device. Yeah. Things are becoming nice, especially technology. For those who have tried to venture and have looked about the new Tesla cars, where like you are having your own car, then every stuff your car has your bill and your transaction. So if a car needs any repair, your money from your bank just get deducted from anywhere and the car auto replaced itself. uh, yeah, technology is a nice witchcraft. So what are some like just a minute. uh, So yeah, you also need to know some of IoT devices that are being used in hacking. For those who have been doing sec, some of you have heard about. I really love a tool called Flipper Zero. I think very soon I'll have to import it. We have this tool here. This tool called Flipper Zero is hacking some cars into some petrol station, though it works with something like do I reject all or do I accept all? Let me try to accept. So we have this tool called Flipper Zero. Some of you have seen it. Yeah, some of you have heard of it. For those who listen to David Bombay and other stuff, has always been doing yeah some tutorials about this Flipper Zero. So Flipper Zero is a portable multi-tool for pen testers and geeks in a toy-like body. It loves hacking digital stuff such as radio protocols, access control, hardware, and more. It's full of open source and customized. Yeah, Flipper Zero is an open source. You can decide to buy it. You can download it and see how it works. So this is how Flipper Zero looks like. It's an interesting stuff. So it's a tiny piece of hardware with a curious personality of Cyber Dolphin. It interacts with the digital system in real life and grow while you use it. Explore any kind of access control, RFID radio protocols, and debug hardware using GPIO pins. Yeah, the idea of Flipper Zero is to combine all the hardware tools you need for exploration and development on the go. Flipper Zero was inspired by the is it Congochi project, but unlike other device boards, Flipper is designed with a convenience of everyday usage in mind. So this stuff can hack into vehicles. I don't know. Can even hack into ATM card. I really don't know, but it's a good stuff where you can, for those who are having vehicles, yeah, you can even go to a petrol station and pay 200, but your tank will be filled with petrol station for petrol or with around 5,000. It's just a good stuff. You can have a look about it. It's a nice type. If you really need it, you can decide to import. Yeah, it is around 125 kilohertz. It has even a massage button. Yeah, yeah, it has a massage button. It can do a lot of stuff. Infrared ray, yeah, tools for hardware exploration. So it does a lot of weird stuff at the end of the day, and it's really growing. And it's not that expensive. You can get it. You can get it if you want to do physical. If you want to do some hardware hacking, you can decide to buy now and you check at the price. How much is it? I really need to buy that stuff with Jumia. I really doubt that these people are scammers. Huh. So we have many stuff when it comes to hacking IoTs. I'm not talking of Lipa Zero. There we have the Arduino boards. Huh. There are a lot of stuff, especially when it. Just a minute to check. Is it here? Oh, no, that's not browser. So, question here. Yeah, someone has sent a link in the chat. Uh, you can have also a look at that. Uh-huh. For hardware. So, what do you really need to understand before you get into hacking IoTs? The best thing, we shall still get back to networking. So, you have to understand networking principle. This includes protocols such as TCP, DNS, HTTP, and how devices communicate with each other over a network. Yeah, it's also important to be familiar with tools used for network scanning and packet sniffing, such as Nmap and Wireshark. Yeah, that will be good. Another thing you have to understand a bit of operating system. Okay, it's a must because most IoT devices run on Linux. So having good understanding of Linux operating system is important. It is also helpful to be familiar with other operating systems such as Windows. Yeah, as IoT device may run on this system as well, but keep in mind most stuff run on Linux. So another thing you need to learn is about exploit development. Sorry, about exploit development. So you need to learn how to develop exploits involving identifying vulnerabilities in IoT device and developing a code to exploit this vulnerability. This require good understanding of reverse engineering. Yeah, that's where you need to maybe to be good at assembly, C, memory exploit, like memory manipulation. You need to know how to manipulate memories and how to identify and exploit a vulnerability. Most important thing. Uh, Another thing you need to understand is programming language. You need to have okay. Most you need to know C and Rust. Yeah, you also need to know Python is essential for IoT hacking. These languages are commonly used for writing exploits and developing tools for testing and attacking IoT device. So having some good content in Python apart from printing hello world, yeah, it's really good. And C, even Rust is very good for health. Then you also need to know a bit of penetration testing. Penetration testing involves simulation attacks in IoT device to identify vulnerability and weakness. So it's important to be familiar with penetration testing tools and framework, especially Metasploit. and how it is used and how to use them to test the IoT device. So, any question, any person who feels like can add something, you are free to unmute. So, yeah, we need to have some, yeah, some other time maybe I will try do a physical hack, maybe using the Arduino boards because they are easily accessible. Yeah, then the last part that I will talk very little is about the artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is really growing. Remember, AI, artificial intelligence, refers to computer systems that are capable of performing tasks that require human intelligence, such as learning, reasoning, problem solving. So AI is really growing. Some people are scared AI is taking over jobs. Others, AI is really benefiting them, maybe it's source of income. And yeah, it all depends with first your view about artificial intelligence and how scared are you about AI. Personally, I'm scared about artificial intelligence. Yeah, because sometimes it's dangerous when we start living in a world where machines are brighter than us. I can't imagine I walking in the road and having a conversation like, what do you say? You start vibing with a girl that is a robot and is able to manipulate your mind. That's really scary and really weird. So, how is AI good in security? AI is being used to detect and respond to threats in real time. As cyber threats are becoming increasingly sophisticated and difficult to detect using traditional security measures, AI can be used to analyze vast amounts of data to identify patterns and anomalies that may indicate a security breach. It can also be used to automate